Hello, aloha. Welcome to another episode of Touchful Podcast. It will be a special one for me to record because it will be about Lomi. And even though I have been practicing Lomi for the last 7 years and it has been much more than just my work, it has become my way of life, my life path, if you want to say. And I have been teaching Lomi for 5 years or something like this. So my whole life revolves around Lomi, or most of my life really does revolve around this practice. The truth is that I don't talk that much directly about Lomi in this podcast. There are a couple of episodes which are directly about Lomi. For example, there is a beautiful episode about how to receive Lomi and tips on receiving Lomi, and another beautiful episode about Lomi as a perspective, from the perspective of practitioners and from the perspective of clients, and how it is more than just a massage. But so far, most of the episodes that I have created, they have not been directly about Lomi. Even though almost everything that I share with you in this podcast, in every episode, almost everything that I know about myself, about my consciousness, about the world, about relationships, about other people, I feel that almost everything that I know and almost everything that I am, it is in this way or another thanks to Lomi. So in a way, every episode that I share with you, everything that I say and record, it is directly or indirectly about Lomi. But this episode will be my very direct way of speaking about something that is one of the most dear parts of my life, which is teaching Lomi, and how I teach this, and about my breakthrough that I had not so long ago, and how my teaching has changed and evolved. And I believe that this episode will be hopefully interesting for you if you are thinking of learning Lomi, and especially if you are maybe thinking of learning Lomi with me, whether you are in Iceland or whether you live abroad and you want to come for a Lomi training with me. I want to tell you more about what actually I teach and how I teach, because what I teach, it is not a massage. But I also hope that this episode will be interesting for those of you who do not want to learn Lomi. You feel that it's not your calling. Maybe you have interest in this massage, or maybe you just like to listening to me talking about all kinds of things. I still do hope and I do believe that you will find some interesting things in this episode, and you will have some beautiful takeouts from what I want to share, because again, like I said, I don't teach Lomi mainly as a massage. And this is something that I want to share with you in today's episode. And maybe I should do a little bit of an introduction. Maybe you came across me and this episode by accident and you don't even know what Lomi is, not to mention you don't know who I am. So I want to just give a very brief few sentences introduction. My name is Magdalena. I live in Iceland. I'm from Poland, and I'm a practitioner of teacher of Lomi. And Lomi is a Hawaiian healing practice, Hawaiian bodywork. Sometimes it is called a Hawaiian massage. And one of the reasons for that is that the very word Lomi, Hawaiian word Lomi, it literally means a massage, or it means to massage. So this practice is seen as a massage, and it is practiced as a massage. And when I talk about Lomi to my clients, I often talk about it as if it was massage. But both me and my clients, we know that it is something more. There are a couple of reasons why I'm bringing this topic about how I teach Lomi, why I'm bringing this topic right now. And the main reason is that just this week I had a beautiful, wonderful individual Lomi training. And I felt that I experienced some sort of a breakthrough on that training, and that actually inspired me to start talking more about what actually am I teaching, because I am not teaching massage, even though it looks like this, or it might look like this. I am not teaching massage. And this training that I had was the first training ever when I openly and clearly said to my student that I told her, I don't care if you will become a good massage therapist after this training. I don't care. I care about different things on the Lomi trainings that I do. And I want to tell you what I care about. So that is one of the reasons, and the main reason why I feel that this topic is so alive in me. And another reason is that my friend visited me yesterday and she stayed for one night. I did Lomi yesterday for her in the evening, and then we had a lovely time. And it is a friend that I met many, many years ago, and she first became my Lomi client. It was my first year of doing Lomi, just beginnings of beginnings. And she came to a couple of sessions with me, and after that she asked me if I could teach her how to do that. She felt an urge to learn that. And it was way before I became officially a Lomi teacher, way before my teacher training. And she was that first person that, I want to almost say, that believed in me. It was the first person that ever came to me and she told me, I want you to teach me this. Can you teach me this? I want to be able to touch people like this. I want this practice in my life. So she was my first student, and now we are friends. And just her visiting me yesterday and us talking about all kinds of things, and also about my evolution and how I have changed over all these years, because obviously she can see that and I can see how she has changed. This was another thing that inspired me to talk more about this. And I would like to take you sort of like down the memory line, starting from the very beginning, 7 years ago when I started doing Lomi, because it will be 7 years very soon. So as I'm recording this episode, it's beginning of January 2024, and at the end of January, Aloha Magdalena will celebrate 7 years. It will be my 7th birthday, because on 28th of January 2017, it was my first Lomi that I ever did, my first Lomi that I ever gave. It was my first ever Lomi training, and I feel that that was this first step that I took, and it felt like taking the first step on a path, on a Lomi path, and I had no idea in my wildest dreams where this path would take me. And where I am now after these 7 years of practicing it and teaching it, it feels insane to me to think how my life has changed over these 7 years. But if you want to listen more about it, then the very first episode of Touchful Podcast is about that. My life before Lomi and my life after Lomi. So I started 7 years ago, like I said, and immediately on my very first Lomi training, I already knew that one day I would be teaching this. I could somehow feel it, that a day would come when I will be teaching it. Even though I was not that very great since the very beginning, I was not like a prodigy child. I still remember that very first training of mine when my hands were so cold, and when I put them on the body that I was supposed to massage for the first time, I remembered how they were gently shaking and how they were so very, very cold, and how it was just like I was stumbling and I couldn't find the rhythm of my feet, not to mention the rhythm of my breath. But still, deep inside, I could feel it. I could feel that the Lomi was in me. And this is one of my biggest beliefs around teaching that, because I could feel that since the very beginning. I could feel that Lomi in me. And I very strongly believe that if somebody wants to learn this, if somebody has an urge to learn Hawaiian Lomi Lomi, it means that this Lomi is already in you. And my job as a teacher is to help you to remember. So in fact, I'm not teaching anything. Yes, I am teaching you techniques. I am teaching you particular strokes. I am teaching you a way of breathing. I am teaching you the rhythm and the dance around the bench. I am teaching you, and I'm looking like air quote right now, I am teaching you all kinds of technical things. But on a deeper level, the way I feel it is that I am actually helping you to remember. Because I believe that this practice is already in you and that you can feel it. And that's why you want to learn this. Over all these years of me teaching Lomi, and I teach mostly on individual trainings, but I also do group trainings for smaller groups and a little bigger groups. For all these years, so many people would come to me and they would tell me, I want to learn this. I'm not even sure why. I'm not even sure if I will be ever practicing this, but I want to learn this. And when I look at my students, yes, some of them, they practice it. They have their beautiful massage practice, a very successful practices. They have their clients. They serve beautifully to their clients and to their community. But I also have students who are not therapists in a sense that they do not receive clients. Some of them just share Lomi with their families. And some of them, after taking the training with me, they do not share Lomi actively, they do not massage, but still that training activated something in them. And that is my main intention behind the Lomi training, that if you come to me and you tell me, I want to learn this, it means that if you want to learn Lomi, it means that Lomi wants to come through you to this world. And a second thing is that if you want to learn this, then it means that it will transform you in some way. And it might take you into doing it professionally or not. It doesn't matter to me that much. It is not my main intention for you to become a massage therapist. My main intention for you is to become a Lomi practitioner. And a Lomi practitioner is somebody who practices Lomi. And when you practice Lomi, Lomi practices you. It is one of my most famous sentences that I share always with my students on trainings, and I am well known for that sentence. You practice Lomi, and Lomi practices you. It means that it changes you. It opens you up. It changes your perspective on things. And I firmly believe that my job as somebody who shares this practice with the world, as a teacher, is to help you open up to all the ways in which Lomi can practice you, and to help you to open up to all the ways in which you can practice Lomi. Okay? So I started teaching around 5 years ago, probably, with that first client of mine, who is now my friend, who came to me and asked me if I could taught her that, which I did to my best quality at that time. I remember I also talked to my teacher, and I asked my teacher if I can do this, if I can teach, even though I haven't finished my teacher training officially yet, if I can pass it on. And my teacher was very supportive of that since the very beginning. She would always tell me and all the other people who would study to become teachers of Lomi, she would always tell us, just share it. If somebody wants to learn this, just share it from the place where you are right now, from all this knowledge and experience that you have at this very moment. Just share it. And that's what I was doing, and I have been doing, and I'm doing still through all these years, doing my best to share this practice from the depth of my heart to my best abilities, from the place where I am right now. And through all these years, my understanding of Lomi has been changing. When I sometimes look at my very, very old Facebook posts and I read them and I see the depth and the truth in them, because I was always doing my best to share from the depth of my heart and from my truth. And I read through my old blog posts or Facebook posts and I see truth in them. And I see that obviously I was in a very different place with understanding what Lomi was than I am right now. And probably in 5 years, when I will be listening to this recording, I will be in yet another place, because as I practice Lomi, Lomi practices me. It opens me up. It expands me. It helps me to grow, and it helps my heart to grow. So my understanding of Lomi has been changing for all these years. My Lomi practice has been changing very, very, very much through all these years. And the clients who have been with me for 2 or 3 or 4 years of regular practice of Lomi therapy, they can feel it, and they often share it, how my Lomi has been changing and evolving and becoming even more powerful and more embodied. And I'm very I'm actually gonna use that word, that I'm very proud of how I allow this practice to open me up and to help me grow into becoming just a better and kinder and more loving human. And because my practice has been changing and evolving, my way of teaching also has been changing and evolving. When I think about one of my very first trainings, one of the first people that I have trained here in Iceland, versus when I think about that training which I just finished a couple of days ago, these two people received completely different teachings from me. Completely different teachings. And still, each and every of them received the deepest truth that I had at the very moment of what Lomi is and how to practice it and how I understand it. And in this episode, I want to give you some practical information of, like, practically, technically, how Lomi training with me looks like, in case you are thinking of having a training with me. But I don't want to start with that. I want to start with explaining to you what I really want to teach you. At this moment of my practice, at this moment of me as a Lomi teacher, my biggest breakthrough that I've had recently is that I am really no longer interested in making sure that you are a good massage therapist or a good body worker or a good healer. However weird it might sound, and I will explain that in detail in a moment. There was a time in my Lomi practice and in my Lomi teaching when I would very much focus on the massage part. And on my Lomi trainings, I would very much focus on, quote unquote, creating, making good massage practitioners. And that was a beautiful time of my Lomi teaching, and I'm very grateful for that. And I feel it was a very necessary part of my Lomi teaching. And I feel that at this moment of my practice, because I don't see Lomi as a massage anymore, I also don't see teaching Lomi as teaching massage anymore. So first, I want to explain to you what I mean by the fact that I don't see Lomi as a massage anymore. Which is paradoxical because, like I said, Lomi literally means massage. But what I love the most, what I love as a definition of Lomi, was a definition or an explanation given by Abraham Kauai, who was a kahuna, a Lomi practitioner, a Lomi teacher, a Lomi master, and a creator and practitioner and teacher of the Lomi lineage that I practice, I teach, which is Lomi Nui. And he would say that Lomi Lomi was a physiologically based psychospiritual transformation. One more time, Magdalena. Physiologically based psychospiritual transformation. And the more I practice Lomi and the more Lomi practices me, the more I see it like this. That it is physiologically based, which means that it is based in your physiology, it is based in your physical body. That's where the massage part comes. There is a lot of kneading and rubbing and pressing and pulling and rotating and stretching and all kinds of really deep work in Lomi Lomi, where deep physical tensions have chance to being released, where the mobility of the joints is being increased. Many of my clients that I have worked with, there were people with chronic pain and that they had for many years, physical pain, and now this pain is gone. Or I often work with people recovering from injuries, or people who are just a few steps away from having an operation, because it seems like the only thing that can help them for some of their physical ailments. And then it turns out that Lomi actually helps them, and after a couple of sessions, or sometimes after a longer time, they don't need that operation anymore. So it is physiologically based, and that's why it is often described as a massage, as a form of body work. And definitely the massage part is there. Like, let me be very clear, the massage part is there. It's a lot of touch, like I said, a lot of pressing, rubbing, kneading, pulling, rotating, stretching. One of my clients, he calls it Lomi yoga for lazy people, because of how deep stretches and how much tension release Lomi gives you, and you don't need to do anything, you just lay down on a bench. So it's better than a yoga session, according to him. So the physical aspect is very much there. But at this moment of my practice, I wouldn't call this a massage. I simply call it Lomi, or I sometimes call it a practice. Sometimes I call it the work. Sometimes I call it body work. Or sometimes I call it physiologically based psychospiritual transformation. And I feel that the key word here is transformation. And I'm going to use this word probably 100 times more in this episode when I will be talking about how I actually teach, because that's the main point of teaching Lomi, is your transformation. Because this work, the way I see it, the way I experience it, the way I practice, the way I do my best to teach it to my best abilities and to depth of my heart, is transformation, psychospiritual transformation, a total transformation of who you are. And it, like I said, it starts through the body, it is rooted in the body, but it never stops there. It goes, I almost want to say that it goes into your essence, it goes into your core, it goes into who you are. That's why I told you at the beginning of this episode that I feel that everything that I know about life is through practicing Lomi. Because the depth of touch of this practice is that it touches you to the core. And again, I see it in my clients, especially those clients who come to Lomi sessions regularly. But even if somebody comes every now and then, I can still feel it. But the greatest transformations that I have witnessed are these of people who have been in regular therapy with me for a year or even longer, and I just simply see how they change, how they evolve, how their hearts become more open, how they soften, how they talk differently, walk differently, think differently, breathe differently, respond differently. And I also change. With every Lomi that I do, I change. With every Lomi that I do, something in me transforms, something in me shifts, something in me opens up, something in me is being released when I do Lomi. Not to mention that when I am on a bench and when I have an opportunity to receive it, usually from one of my students here in Iceland. But the point is that when I do Lomi, I give myself a chance to be touched, to be transformed. Just like this practice transforms, touches, heals my clients. So again, I have so much love and reverence for especially for my regular clients, those who are with me for a very long time, because we sometimes have these talks and I share with them that I see the change in them. And they share with me that they see the change in me. We walk this path together in a way. And I needed to have that sort of like introduction or a little bit explanation of this like physiologically based psychospiritual transformation to now explain to you how I teach and how I understand teaching of Lomi. So like I already mentioned, this transformation, it is not just for the person on a bench who receives Lomi. This transformation is for you as a practitioner, you as somebody who is practicing it. The physiologically based psychospiritual transformation is for you as a practitioner. And that's why I told my student on this last training, I told her with full conviction and with full responsibility, I told her, I don't care if you will become a good massage therapist after this training. I don't care. But what I care about is how much you can open your heart, how close to yourself you can get. I care about your transformation through something that looks like giving a massage. But it is so much more. Because if you do Lomi, Lomi does you. Or like one of my teachers would say, the more you give yourself to the work, the more the work gives itself to you. And I love to remind myself that, and I love to remind that to my students as well. That this practice will be inviting you to open up, to transform. You as a practitioner. I very often say to my students and also to my clients, but now in a context of teaching, it's very relevant to my students. I tell them everything that is standing between you and love must go. Everything that is standing between you and yourself, your truest truth, your open heart, your beauty, your glory, you in your fullest, most beautiful form, everything that is standing between you and you, it must go. And Lomi will be inviting you to release that, to let go of that, for you as a practitioner. So, a couple of examples to like boil it down to really practical examples. If you are a person who struggles with self-worth and feels little and feels maybe not so worthy, or feels that you do something wrong all the time, so you have this strong inner critic, that will become stronger, because that will be invitation for you to finally meet yourself in truth, see your patterns, see these parts of you where you are belittling yourself, see these parts of you which you think that are unlovable, and see that you actually can pour love into these parts. Lomi to me is a work of love. If I had to put Lomi in one sentence, the shortest sentence that I could produce, I would say it's a work of love. For the person who receives it, it's a work of love, inviting love, more love, more love, more love, more of who you are. And for the person who practices it, It's a work of love. It's exactly the same work. Inviting more love, more love, more love, more into yourself. And to me, as a teacher, when I teach this, it is also a work of love. It is inviting more love to my way of teaching Lomi, because that is also a practice, and I practice it, and that practices me. Every Lomi training that I do, whether it's individual training or group training, it changes me as a teacher and it changes me as a person. I just simply know that after each training, I will be during each training, I wanted to say forced, but it's not forced. I will be invited to meet all different parts of myself where I maybe do not love myself fully. All the parts where something feels stuck, all the parts where I belittle myself, all the parts when I don't trust myself, when I don't trust life fully. I will be invited to meet them as a teacher to help me grow. So in that sense, I really don't teach Lomi as a massage. I teach Lomi as a path to self-discovery, as a path of growth, of you growing as a person, your heart growing, your love growing. This is what I care about. And in practice, the way it works, it differs between trainings, because I also, like I said, I grow and evolve as a teacher. And especially on individual trainings, when I teach individually, which means that it's just you and me for a couple of days, usually 4 to 5 days. And that is a very intimate and intense work. And each training will have some sort of a structure, because there are some technical parts of Lomi, technical parts of the massage that I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to do the Lomi stroke. I want to teach you how to do the breathing. I want to teach you how to open and close the session and how to move around the bench and so on and so forth. I want to teach you all that. And that is more or less the same for every person. But what will open up for you on a training will depend on who you are and what do you come with. And also what is opening up for me. So the way I teach Lomi is that on the one hand, I open my heart as wide as I can to teach this as a way of love, as a path of love. And at the same time, it is actually true, and many of my students say that I am quite I almost want to say strict teacher, but I'm not sure if strict is the right word. That sometimes I teach through harsh love. That I am not a fluffy teacher. Yes, I am the most supportive that I can be, and my superpower is to see the Lomi in you. Even if you cannot see it yet, even if you have a feeling that you don't know what you are doing, even if you have a feeling that you don't remember anything and you don't know how to do it, my superpower, and I really say it with conviction, it happens each and every time on each and every training, I can see the Lomi in you. I can see it shining through you more and more on every session, more and more on every day. So there is a lot of love and appreciation in the training, but also my another superpower is that, excuse my language, I see through your bullshit. I see where you are belittling yourself. Where is the inner critic? Where is the inner child? Where is the some deep wounding in you that you just need to let go? You need to let go of that to make more space for Lomi inside you. You need to let go of all that is keeping you small, that is keeping you constricted, that is keeping you tight, that is keeping you limited. Because the moment you let go of that, you know what happens? There is more space for you. And you know what this space inside you is going to be filled up with? It's going to be filled up with life. It's going to be filled up with love. And from that place, your Lomi will shine through you. It will flourish. And to be honest, I'm gonna be super honest and vulnerable right now. At the beginning of each and every training, individual or group training, I always have doubts. And that is part of my own process, going through my doubts. In general, my journey as a teacher is journey through doubt. That's the biggest shadow of my life. Doubting myself, doubting whether I can do it, whether I'm worthy of doing it, should I be doing this, So at the beginning of every training, I start with doubt. I start with this shadow of doubt. And it's a doubt like, will I be able to do this? Will I be able to teach this from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my life? Will I be able to hold myself in such truth and to convey that practice, to teach that practice with the utmost respect and honoring my teachers and honoring the teachers of their teachers? I have doubt, huge doubt, each and every time on each and every training. And also my little human, this little human in me, the truth is that my little human sometimes has doubts about my students as well. I'm like, will he or she be able to do this? So I often start with doubt. And this doubt gets smaller and smaller, minute after minute of each day of the training, when I allow myself to step into my zone of genius and to teach that directly from my heart. And when I help my students to step into their zone of genius and to see themselves in the glory and the truth and the beauty and love and magic that they are. And each and every time, and I have taught on so many trainings, and each and every time I am amazed. It feels like a miracle. My little human cannot believe it, but each and every time it happens that the Lomi comes through. The Lomi breaks through. Doesn't matter if somebody is a total beginner, doesn't matter if somebody has great experience in massages or some different modalities, doesn't matter. It always happens that your Lomi breaks through. And yes, at the last day of the training, which is a day when I receive a full Lomi from my student, at the last day of the training, some people do better massage. Some people do a little less technically good massage. But when it comes to Lomi, everybody does beautiful Lomi. Because Lomi, it's much more than a massage. And yes, I do care if your backstroke, if on the massage, when you do massage, if your backstroke will be precise. I do care about that. But what I care much more about is your Lomi shining through? Is your truth shining through? Are you bringing yourself to that bench? When you stand by that bench, and when you put your hands on the body that is laying there on that bench, do you bring yourself? And when you bring yourself, can you love yourself fully in whatever comes up? Because that is how I feel the healing in Lomi happening. It happens through love. Lomi is a work of love. It is a loving work. And the biggest breakthrough in my own practice, me as a practitioner, the biggest breakthrough happened a couple of years ago. I think it was 2020, 2021, when I had a depressive episode. And then also my physical health got much worse, to the point that I had to stop working for a couple of months. But there was a time when, in that depressive episode, I would do Lomi. And I'm not sure if I shared that in a podcast or not. I know that I shared this story with my students, and it's also a very vulnerable story for me. I'm not sure if I shared that in the podcast before. But anyhow, I was doing Lomi, and I was so truthful to myself in how I felt. And I brought all of myself to that bench when I was doing Lomi. I was not trying to repress any part of myself because, oh my God, I should be in high vibes because I'm doing Lomi. This is such a BS. So I would bring all of myself to that bench. And you know what happened? I heard, not from one client, not from two clients, not from three clients, from almost each and every person that I was doing Lomi for at that time, each and every person, whether it was a new client or my regular client, they would tell me, wow, that was something else. My regular clients would tell me, wow, your Lomi was always great. It was always amazing, but now, like, oh my God, that was something that I have never experienced. And I would hear it again and again and again. At the point when I felt at my lowest, in a way. But also that was a time of my life when for the first time I felt at my truest. That I just stopped lying to myself about so many things in my life. And I would hold myself in this fire of my own love and seeing myself. And I would start doing Lomi from that place. And that transformed my practice completely, and that also transformed the way I teach Lomi. You might notice that, or maybe not, then if you haven't noticed, then I will tell you now. But you might notice that I very rarely use the word that I give Lomi. I almost never say that. I used to say that a lot, just like I give massages, I give Lomi. Now I never say that, or almost never. I would say that I do Lomi or that I practice Lomi, because I firmly believe that at the depth of this practice, there is nothing to give. And this is also something that I so much want to teach to my students, that when you are standing by that bench, what you are giving is you are giving yourself to the world. Yes, it looks like if somebody was looking, taking a look from the side, it looks like you are giving a massage to somebody. But on a deeper level, and I only care about the deeper level, I am quite bored with the surface stuff. On a deeper level, you are not giving anything to anybody. You are just bringing yourself to the world, holding yourself in your truth, feeling yourself deeply, feeling your touch, feeling your breath, feeling your movement around the bench, holding yourself in the light of your consciousness, holding yourself in the light of your love, and working with different techniques, different moves, long strokes, short strokes, underbody strokes, massaging the legs and the arms and the belly and the face, and doing this what looks like a beautiful, loving massage. And it is a beautiful and loving massage on the surface. But deeper, it is your personal journey towards yourself. One of the questions that I would often ask my students during the training, after the session, one of the questions would be, what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about the world? And very often the answers that they would give me, they would be completely unrelated to massage. They wouldn't tell me, oh, I learned that when I do this and this with my arm, then this and this happens, or I learned that if I press here, then something like this. But they would tell me, for example, oh, that was such one of the beautiful sharings from the last trainings. It really touched my heart when my student told me, I learned how easily it is for me to abandon myself, to distract myself, to stop being present with myself. But I also learned how easy it is to come back to myself with just one breath. And I heard that and I was like, bingo. Because this is something, this learning, what you have just learned, it's not just going to affect the way you massage. It will. Your Lomi, your massage immediately will become better just by you applying this knowledge. But it is something that changes your life when you are able to notice in a conversation that you have with a friend how present you are. Just like you are able to notice in the Lomi that you do how present you are or how absent you are. You will be able to see in a relationship with your partner or with your child where you are trying to give them something, hoping that they will give you something in return, a praise or gratitude, which essentially is such a manipulation. And you will be able to see that because you were able to identify that pattern by the massage bench when you were doing Lomi. That is something that I learned a lot. And that's what I mean by I do Lomi and Lomi does me. I practice Lomi and Lomi practices me. It opens me up to more love, to more truth, to more freedom, to approaching life and relationships with people on and off the bench, to approaching it from the place of love, not from the place of fear or manipulation or me belittling myself or belittling somebody else. And that is a journey. And that is a journey of a lifetime. And I'm excited to take that journey each and every time. Each and every time I stand by that bench and I put my hands on the body. If you are my client, then you know that I sometimes chant, we sometimes take a couple of breaths, and then I would ask you, are you ready? And if you say yes, I would say, then I wish you a beautiful journey. But what you don't know, and what you're about to find out now, is that I first ask myself, in my own heart, I ask myself, Magdalena, are you ready? And if you want to know the depth of that question and what it actually really means, then I made a beautiful episode, one that I'm very proud of. And the title of that episode is Are You Ready to Die in Lomi and in Life? And I talk more about the profoundness of this question, if this is something that interests you. But I first ask myself, are you ready? And when I feel a yes in my own heart, then I wish myself a beautiful journey, because it will be a journey towards myself, each and every session that I do. And I hope that this is something that I am able to teach from the depth of my heart to my students. And the transformations that I see in people are out of this world. Like I said, I still, I never believed that it is possible, that degree of transformation. And it always is. I know what I wanted to say. It's something that I started saying, and then of course I made a detour like I very often do, and then I forget to finish. So like I said, I very often teach through this fierce love. And what I mean by that is that I would invite you to meet with parts of yourself that you try to avoid. For example, if I see that you have difficulties making decisions, I would give you 103 opportunities to make decisions during the training. And mind you that the training with me and in general a Lomi training, it's not just about massage. It's a lot of other practices that are not massage related, but they are Lomi related. So if I see that it's difficult for you to take decisions, I would constantly give you chances to take decisions. If I saw that you are very confident and you are very that it always has to be your way, I would probably most likely take that away from you, and I would give you no chance to take any decision at all. If I would see that it is difficult for you to connect to your voice, to speak up, to speak loudly, we would probably practice a lot of chanting and shouting to the ocean and speaking up. If I would see that you are a person who moves very fast, then I would probably create plenty of opportunities for you to slow down, to connect to that part of you that is like the opposite. So the opposites of you can meet. And that is sometimes extremely frustrating. And sometimes trainings with me are frustrating, and sometimes they are difficult, and sometimes they are moving, and sometimes they are tears, and sometimes there is joy, and sometimes there is sadness and frustration and all kinds of things. And I go through them as well as a teacher, because I have my own processes of my own doubt, of my own insecurities, of my own stuff coming up. And the most amazing thing for me, the thing that amazes me so much on each and every training, is that I have no idea how I am able to say the right things, to do the right things, to poke you in the right ways. And each and every time I have doubts if I will be able to do that. And then it turns out that each and every time I am able to do that. And I firmly believe that it is Lomi working through me, that it's something greater working through me. That's why I have such reverence for this work, and that's why I feel immense responsibility for the work that I share. And there was a time in my life when I was really doubting myself. Should I be teaching that? Am I worthy? Am I the right person to do this? To pass on this precious knowledge? Am I the right one? Am I the worthy one? I had serious doubts at some point of my life, and I sometimes still have these doubts. And especially that before I started doing Lomi in Iceland 7 years ago, this practice was virtually unknown here. Nobody knew what that was, and most likely nobody was doing that. Or if anybody was doing that, then I didn't find anybody who would be doing Lomi in Iceland. So I was, in a way, the first person who was doing that. And then when I started to teach Lomi, I was the first teacher, and for now, still I am the only teacher who teaches in Iceland, who teaches Lomi in Iceland. And I know that it will change sooner or later, and there will be more teachers. And now there are more practitioners. Many of them are trained by me, but some of them, some of the beautiful practitioners that we have here in Iceland, they are not my students. And it's such a joy to see that this practice is just thriving and getting more and more known and more popular in Iceland. And I know that it is, to a big extent, thanks to me. And that is why I also feel such responsibility and so many doubts, like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? But I know that these doubts are coming from the little human, that they are coming from the mind, that in my heart, I want to at least trust that I share it from the right place, and that the transformation that I invite you to, that the journey that I invite you to, that it is worth it, that it's something that helps you open up your heart, see the magic that you are, see the love that you are, share that love with your community, with your friends, with your clients. And one of the most beautiful things is to see people opening up. Like on the last day of training, to see their eyes shining, their hearts open, their bodies getting so much softer. Because this is also something that you need to be aware of. Like the moment you start practicing Lomi and Lomi starts practicing you, your physical body will change. You will become taller. You will become softer. Your hands will become softer. The way you breathe will change. The way you walk will change. You will be doing the practice, and the practice will be doing you. And the more you will give yourself to the work, the more the work will give itself to you. I think I'm gonna start wrapping up slowly. At the end of each and every episode that I record, I always have this thought, which is like, it always goes more or less like, oh my God, I hope that I was able to, that I conveyed the message that I so much wanted to convey, that I was able to share in truth and from the bottom of my heart. And that this time is the same, or maybe even more, because this topic is so important to me and so precious to my heart, and this is something that my life is so much about. So I do hope that I did this topic justice and that I was able to convey the message that I wanted to convey. And the main message was that the way I teach Lomi is through the work of love and as a path of self-discovery, discovering yourself, coming to terms with different parts of yourself, forgiving yourself, getting to know yourself better through the massage, through the breath, through the movement, giving you plenty of opportunities to meet yourself in truth, to return to love that you are. And that's it for now. I promised you that I would tell you a little bit more about how the trainings with me look like. I think I will just simply leave the link to the Lomi Fundamentals training. If you would like to take it with me, it's 4 days with the possibility to extend it into 5 days, and it's a retreat training, which means that you come to my home, to Magical Snæfellsnes in Iceland, and we live together for these couple of days, and I have a chance to invite you to discover the Lomi in you, to let the Lomi in you shine through various exercises, through various techniques, breathwork, bodywork, movement, and of course massaging different people on different days. Another option, something that I am very open to and very excited about, is traveling abroad to teach Lomi. So if you live abroad and if you would like to invite me to where you live, to your place for an individual training, or maybe for a group training that you would like to organize for me wherever you are, then please contact me, and I would love that. I would love to be able to travel with my Lomi to wherever it is wanted and wherever it is needed. So if this is something that you would like to experience with me, just let me know, contact me, send me a message. If you feel inspired to learn Lomi, but you don't want to learn from me, or you cannot come to Iceland, or for whatever other reason, I invite you, I inspire you to find a teacher, find somebody who resonates with your heart. And if you want to learn Lomi, please do this, please, please, please. If you feel a calling to learn this, do this, because I firmly believe that it means that this practice is already in you, and it just needs to be born into this world, and you as a Lomi practitioner. And we need people who touch the world in such a way, in a Lomi way, in a kind way, in a loving way. People who are deeply connected to themselves, to their own hearts, to their own hands, to their own bodies, to their own breaths. We need more of that. So please, if you feel the calling, learn this with a teacher that is calling you on an individual training or on a group training. And I want to thank you so much for spending a moment of your life with me, a long moment of your life with me. Thank you for listening. And I hope that this episode was inspirational for you in this way or another, whether you want to learn Lomi or not at all. I do hope that you found something interesting and inspirational for you. If there is anything that you want to share with me, some takeout from this episode, I leave you my email in the description. You are very, very, very welcome to contact me, and I would be happy and honored to receive a message from you. And I just want to say thank you for you. I want to remind you that you are wanted and needed, and this world is so much better place because you are here, and you are magic. And I am grateful that you are here in this world. Keep being you, keep opening up your heart, keep meeting yourself in truth and discovering who you are. Thank you for you, and I will talk to you sometime soon. Aloha, bye-bye.